Welcome back to We Are Liars for another episode. This is a very special episode for many reasons. Obviously, number one, we have Seth, which is just
Hello.
clearly the best.
Hey.
Hello,
Thank
Seth.
you for having me back.
We enjoy you. We love you. We can't wait to hear your commentary. And it's also special because it's Halloween, which I teased to
Yes.
Michelle last week, and she was pumped.
I was.
Did this episode deliver or not so much? She thought it was a little cringe.
I laughed a lot.
A lot of cringe.
The acting was something else. But you know what? It was super fun. It was super fun, and I love Halloween. So I am here for it. I have a lot of things brewing and thoughts and who's who, and Ace started before Allie died. So yeah.
Or did they? Is it the same? I'm just everything I pose is, did it happen or not?
Right,
Because
okay.
I always have to keep Michelle on her toes.
You definitely do, always.
I don't want to give too much away.
It's true.
Well,
it's true.
You were not sharing the same spirit of the people in this episode. This episode is insane. It's crazy. There's so much stuff going on. And if you know the full story, there's like even more going on. And
so much. There's
it's
so
wild.
much unsaid.
Yeah.
You just see it.
This is like maybe the worst episode of Pretty Little Liars, which I feel like is saying something. Just like technically.
Yes. It's definitely, I said to Michelle, it feels like we were on the train of ABC Family doing Halloween specials. That's what it felt like that.
Yes.
Still thoroughly enjoyed the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah. In a way, it feels like a bottle episode. Like, it's like, hey, let's go back before anything means anything. While at the same time, every person who's on screen, everything that is said, it's like, let's cram every reference and character and moment into one episode. It's horrible.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
Okay, I'm glad. Yeah,
it's a mess.
Because I was laughing a lot. I'm like, this is not good. This is not good. But I'm here for it. But it's not good.
No. Let's tell them what we're talking about. Season 2, episode 13, titled The First Secret, aired October 19th, 2011, written by I. Marlene King and directed by Dana Gonzalez. No V in there. Gonzalez. The summary. It's a simple one. It's Halloween before Allison went missing, and the friends hope to score an invite to Noel's Halloween party. That was the description from IMDb. Thank you for nothing. But, I mean, in a nutshell, that is the premise.
That is it.
They scored the invite to Noel's Halloween party.
In the first 2 minutes. And that's why it's a bad description.
We explore pretty much everything we already knew and then some. Yeah. Michelle's like, we already knew this. We don't need to watch.
I was just frustrated because we didn't get to Halloween fast enough. And I felt the whole, and not to jump ahead, but I'll sum it up. But I did not need to see Arya and Byron Barron go at it. We already know that. We know that he asked her to lie about, like, a waste of my time. I don't care unless he's and this is going to come back in a couple of seasons. I don't need to see it.
It was fun to see Meredith, though.
I guess, sure.
Because we had that callback of her and him. And obviously we see that exact scene that they had filmed in the pilot in this episode.
Which I did appreciate that, but we could have left it there. I don't think we could have we didn't need that long conversation.
Yeah.
Of lie for me.
Right. Like, it didn't give Byron any depth. It was just already what we know is that he's a piece of shit and he stayed a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know why we did that. But also to show that Arya was sad, didn't want to go to the Halloween party, but we did this anyway. So
she could have been sad just from catching them.
Right.
You know
exactly.
What I'm saying? Like, I don't want to deal with whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. So Seth, a few questions for you. The first one I have from Britt, since you're our movie guy, if each girl was a Halloween or horror movie, which would they be? And she said, feel free to send this to him earlier so he can think about it. I didn't want to do that. I wanted you to do it on the spot.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I just wanted what your gut was telling you.
Okay.
So, my present to you.
Well, first of all, hello, Britt. How are you? Thank you for your question. if you've ever wondered
You're so
what it
clever.
sounds like when someone is stalling, this is what it is.
Yeah, but you're so good at it. You're so good at stalling.
I don't know that I have a separate horror movie for each of the girls. I do have a breakdown of all of their Halloween costumes and how it relates to their characters.
Well, I'm sorry. Let's do that now.
Okay.
Let's do that now. Skip this question. Let's do that because that's way more fun for me right now.
Okay. All right.
Is the breakdown of these costumes.
I will, though, Britt.
How about you think about it? We'll get back to it.
I will send in a list that will get shared with you. I promise.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll post it on Patreon.
For sure.
Okay. So the costumes, right? First off, one of the reasons why this episode is fun is because we get Allie walking around talking, doing her thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not just in momentary flashbacks, but she's throughout the whole episode. And it's fun and dumb, and her dynamic with the girls makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
Yes. So her costume, she's Lady Gaga, right?
Lady G.
Lady G, right? So Gaga's first album was called The Fame, which came out in 2007. This episode's taking place in 2008, right?
Yes.
And the second single off of The Fame, do you guys remember what it was?
It wasn't
That's
Just
right,
Dance?
ladies and gentlemen. Well, that was the first single. The second single was Poker Face.
Poker Face.
And if you read through the lyrics, it is a dark and twisted tale of a woman who lies and hides behind many different things. I pulled some of the lyrics. It says, I want to roll with him. A hard pair we will be. A little gambling is fun when you're with me. Russian roulette is not the same without a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And baby, when it's love, if it's not rough,
it isn't
fun. And if that doesn't sound like Alison De Laurentiis, I don't know what does.
Thank you.
So this show is that deep then?
Oh, definitely. Oh, yes. Of course. Absolutely.
That's just very... Okay,
I have about 2 hours worth of analysis on this whole episode, so just get ready.
Okay, who's next?
Okay, so Arya comes as a witch. A witch is someone who is adept in both clairvoyance or a seer, and a big part of this episode is that Arya sees the truth about her parents and her family. Second, Emily, Ben, who sucks. Ben wants her to be a cop, right? And she does not.
Cop.
Yes, she doesn't want to be a cop. She wants to be a Native American. This is representative of her bucking her conservative family and her, heterosexual boyfriend and wanting to be something that's way more free, right? Spencer, well, I'll save Spencer. Hannah is Britney Spears, and this one took me a little bit, but then I remembered that in 2007, Britney Spears shoplifted from 2 different stores. One was a wig,
her head.
and one was a lighter. And so that's the Hannah connection. And then Spencer, all I will say is Spencer gives a description of Mary, Queen of Scots, right, when they don't know who she is. And we know that Spencer is in an election, and so she's like a head of state, and there is that. But like big, like long-term stuff, this isn't a spoiler for this episode. Nothing that she says in the episode is what I'm about to say, so don't like freak out or anything. But if you're not super familiar with Mary, Queen of Scots, and you don't want spoilers for like the entire structure of this show, do not read about Mary, Queen of Scots. But if you do know about this show, read about her. There's a ton of weird parallels that they're putting in here in season 2 that are playing out way later in the show.
Thank you.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff. So that's it. That's my 10-minute response to Britt's
What
question.
do you make of Noel Kahn as a gynecologist? What
he's a
could
freak.
possibly be? Yeah, he's a fucking freak. I hate him.
Noel Kahn sucks in this episode. When he scares Allie, he doesn't scare her. He just straight up chokes her for several seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, that went on.
Michelle's
for a
like,
while.
this went on for too long.
Hate him so much.
everyone wanted to know. I'm just gonna get it off here.
Yeah.
What was everyone's favorite? What was everyone's favorite Halloween costume in the episode? Mine was Jenna.
Mine was Mona, because I've always wanted to be Catwoman.
Mona's was so good. I did love Hannah's too.
Mona's is good, and Mona's is the Halle Berry Catwoman.
She slayed.
Yes. Which I thought was a pretty funny choice, considering that movie was like a total flop. And Mona in this episode is not like the cool Mona that we get in the later seasons. She's more like reserved. They're looking down on her. And so for her to be that Catwoman, I thought was a pretty interesting choice. I think Jenna's costume looks great. I just hate Jenna without glasses on. I was like, who are you? Like, I don't like, I'm having like face blindness and also repulsion. And not that you're an ugly person, you're a beautiful human being, but you cannot be Jenna without the big glasses.
Isn't it weird to see her like that?
It's also just such an age difference between her and Allie. It's like 10 years plus.
Well, it's 10 plus.
And that throws you off a lot, because she's a gorgeous, hot, very much an adult.
27 years old here.
The cleavage in the Halloween store with the...
I know.
I'm just like, you are a woman who might be older than me.
Woman. Yeah, a woman.
Exactly.
Who's like, oh,
like
I'm going to
the hottest,
most
fierce woman.
That's right.
Ridiculous.
That's right.
Insane.
I mean, she's like older than everybody, it feels.
Yeah.
But I think you can enjoy this show if you're going to be held down by like any rules of logic.
You can't. We say it every week.
Right.
Let the logic go.
Because what we're watching here, they're at the ripe age of 14 years old.
Right.
The ripe age of 14. And I never realized that watching this back a million times, but when we're analyzing it now in 2024, I'm like, these girls are supposed to be 14 years old.
Yes.
Something is not connecting here.
Now, refresh my memory. How old is Toby?
Toby's their age too.
Okay, because his arm hair,
age.
I don't know if you guys noticed his arm hair as he is unloading that truck.
He's a Burlap guy, yeah.
It is like Robin Williams, man. It is so, and I was like, you can put him in the shirt, you can put him in like the longer hair, but man, that arm hair in the sun is glistening.
It was gleaming, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It definitely was. Michelle didn't notice that.
I did not notice that. No.
You got to go back and check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to go back just for the arm hair.
Yeah. All right. Mike says, Seth, how would you rate this episode? Is it an episode, a skepisode, or a film?
Wow. Okay. Well,
like a stethoscope.
Thank you, Mike, for the question. I think I understand what you're saying a little bit.
Right.
This is horrible. Like I said, I think that this is... I guess
don't you think this is a schmovie? This is a schmovie.
Yes.
This is a
It's a schmepisode.
It's a
schmepisode.
On like every level.
Yeah.
Apart from the lore building and like the reestablishing of characters, roles, and then like the stuff that they're preparing you for later on, that's all like through the roof. That's right. Just like they're like bam, 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 hitting you with everything. But like almost every other aspect of this, technically, it's a disaster. The opening scene, which is shot different, where Allie's telling the story about the two girls,
the twins,
which by the way is exactly not 100% exactly, but this is the plot of 1978's Halloween. Michael Myers kills his sister on Halloween. He's then sent to an asylum where he escapes 2 days before Halloween, and then he comes back to kill trick-or-treaters. It's like everything that Allie is saying to this little boy is exactly Halloween. The oversized chef's knife is Michael Myers' weapon of choice. She stabs it into a pumpkin, which is synonymous with the film series Halloween. Anyway, all that to be said, it looks horrible. The transitions between the two, the scene where Hannah is watching a horror movie.
Yeah.
What is this horror movie? An eyeball? One eyeball? Like
right, that's so scary to her.
And then she makes a hello, and it's just Allie. Just say hello. It's a normal phone call. I'm yelling. Yeah. I'm sorry. This episode sucks.
I know, you were so heated.
Yeah, I was very heated.
we were cackling.
I
I
was laughing during that. I'm like, this is really bad acting.
Yes.
It's so bad. But
Yeah.
it's like, are we doing this because we're acting younger? Like
That's possible.
Right.
That's
It has to be an over.
It's like over
exaggeration
exaggerated because we're supposed to be acting younger, and this is the way I act young for this character.
Right.
It truly feels like they were like, all right, guys, you guys are going to be part of the 13 Nights of Halloween. We need an episode for it. And they were like, just
that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys something. Seth, you said it where, besides the messiness of it all, it's giving us so much, right? They're building us up.
Yeah.
Does this pay off?
Yes.
What they're saying, this actually comes
maybe. Sorry, I have to do what Liz does. Sorry.
No, I will give her confirmation of things I feel are necessary. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then that's good. At least
there's so many Easter eggs that that Seth has watched, but I've watched multiple times. Knowing what seeing this is like, oh, there's so many things. And just like the story of the twins, like that's like, why do twins? Like everything, it's just everything's very specific that you're like, oh,
yes,
things are just kind of like,
and yeah, Liz, when you go
makes
home,
sense.
read the Mary Queen of Scots Wikipedia
I
page.
will.
Michelle, don't do that.
Don't, Michelle.
But you will see several things where you're like, oh, they're really just laying the whole thing out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of Mary Queen of Scots, let's go into Spencer. I'm going to just sum up everyone's kind of little synopsis, and then we'll go to the party. So in this flashback episode, we have Spencer trying to solidify her spot as class president. God, is she unbearable in this. The glasses make her even 10 times more annoying than she normally is. And this is coming from someone who loves Spencer. I find her to be very annoying.
But as of
Spencer's
late,
my girl.
We've been
She's my only
really
girl.
Annoyed
really.
with her.
She's your only girl. Is she your favorite, your crush?
She's not my crush. I'm not crushing on 14-year-old character Spencer in this episode.
She's like 21 in real life.
Right. Right.
She is, I think, the only one who looks younger in the flashbacks. I think the headband is doing a lot. Everyone else looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spencer, oh my God. They already invited half the club. Who cares? Dude, who cares?
I know.
You're having a party for becoming class president? Whoop-de-doo.
And your parents are doing this? This is so weird. Why do they care this much?
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to understand. We hear this on the show all the time. The Hastings are really, really overbearing. They're very specific with what they want or what they think is right or what the public perceives them as. We hear it, but we don't actually really see it that much. Yeah. We are now more with Peter and like what's happening and him wanting to hide who they are. Yeah. But you don't see it firsthand. And even though they're not even in the episode, you can see the fear in Spencer. And she says, well, I don't blame Melissa for acting this way. She lives in this house too. Like the both of them kind of have this like trauma bond of their parents. Yeah. And because Melissa is older, she deals with it a certain way and Spencer deals with hers a certain way. And Melissa and her relationship is a little bit different here.
Yeah.
They definitely have a little bit of a closer relationship, and obviously we know what happens later on. So I found that it was interesting for Spencer to have such a mature thought of like, well, we both live in the same house. I understand why we are the way we are. Then, as opposed to now where we are, and like I don't know, I feel like she regressed with that thought process.
Right.
Wait, Spencer regressed?
Yeah, like in 2008, she's like, "Oh, we are the same. We have the same household." But now,
I mean, but look at everything she went through.
I know that so much has happened to the two sisters.
Yeah, odd seeing the three of them. Ian.
Ugh.
Yeah,
and also
I hated him with that. Why he was glued to that freaking camera?
With the camera. It's just like, what are the parents gaining by her winning class president? Like
just reputation.
What social status? If she becomes class president, that's a social status thing to gain.
Well, I guess can get her into Harvard or Yale or Princeton, and it's just something that they want.
Yeah, sure.
That Melissa probably had.
Right.
Oh, I was gonna say, if Melissa had said, "Now, when I won class president,"
Right.
No. And so it's expected. But yeah. The Ian thing, I'm sorry, I like lost my mind for a second. It's like when you have a character and you do a flash forward or a flashback and you want to have little signals for the audience to be like, see, it's still this person. Like someone recently was talking about the film Atonement and how the movie starts with Saoirse Ronan as like an 11-year-old girl. She's got this bob. And then they show her middle-aged, same haircut. And then they show her 75 years old, same haircut. And it's like, so it's like Ian, it's like, hey, Ian, camera, remember that whole thing? He's got the camera in like the 2 seconds we see him. And that's this episode over and over. What's Jenna like? She gets what she wants. What is that? What does that mean?
Well, we know she gets what she wants.
Right.
Wait.
And that's we're like, oh yeah, that is Jenna. Oh
right.
Yeah. But it's horrible writing. Yeah.
Good.
I'll save it. And we're on track. We're talking about Spencer. I'll save it.
Okay. You store it.
Yep. Story.
You store it. All right. So speaking of Melissa and Ian, we have him videotaping, which we know obviously is very specific to his character.
Yeah.
And Allison and him, like, he's not really interested, it seems, right? To me, it doesn't seem like he is, but she's very much interested in him.
Yeah.
And obviously we know what happens with them later on. But Allison really does not like Melissa. And I'm like, is she just jealous? Or is she trying to like keep an eye out for her friend? I feel like obviously it's both, right?
Yeah.
But mostly because she's jealous. She doesn't like Melissa.
Yeah, I think she just likes to shit stir. I don't. Allie sucks.
She's so awful.
Awful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Ian to me was into Allie. Like we could see it. I picked that up. I was like, you're
Yeah.
creepy. The way he was.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, she's telling an enthralling story about how her grandmother
grandmother
is a sweater model. She smells weird and she moved to Georgia. I don't have to see her that often.
Yeah, we didn't need any of that dialogue.
Right. Unless you know all like and even some of the stuff with Melissa, and it's like it's just, oh my god, it's so bad. This episode is, the dialogue is so bad.
Yeah, they're driving home all those plots.
Connected. Yes. It's all connected to stuff. But when you just watch it as an episode, you're like, huh? Oh, God. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I feel like they should have just shown us how it all is connected as opposed to us needing to hear it over and over again. We know Allie's grandma lives in Georgia. We know she's old. We know you don't see her. We know Ian's attracted to you. We know, like...
Right. We know he has a camera.
Like, we just need to see it. Don't shh about it.
Liz, like, you know ahead.
Yeah.
Doesn't this episode make everything else like, why would all the characters not be constantly referring back to this date in time when like supposedly every single thing happened that like started every single storyline?
You're
like,
so
this
right.
is the
Like
most
Halloween
important single
weekend
day. Yes. Yeah. in the show's history suddenly. And like that's revisionist stuff. That's the problem with it. Like they dig way too deep on this. They make it too important instead of it just hanging out and showing dynamics.
Right. I would have loved if we just had the beginnings of Allie with the stalker and Tex and things, and we didn't need to see all of Arya's history, all of Spencer and Melissa's stuff, all of Hannah and her mother and
election
Darren.
rigging.
What do we need? We don't need any of the fluff. We could have just had fun spookiness with a hint of Allie's getting these weird texts. Allie's being stalked. Where is that coming from?
In the little
that's the interesting parts. The things that we don't know about Allison. That's all we needed to know here.
That's what I'm saying. Show me more of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's reel it back in. All right. So, no, because we all could be so heated about the whole thing. So, as you said, like
3 times.
Same.
I'm just getting more worked up.
Frustrated. I know.
Yeah.
So, as you said, Spencer wants to win the election. So, therefore, Allie tells her it's not really looking good. We don't really know how she knows this. And she comes in, she's like, something has happened. And it looks like it's so dramatic and serious. Like she's going to tell Spencer about Arya's dad, right? But she says, no, the election is, not going your way. I thought you were a shoo-in, but you're not. And this is when Spencer literally starts crying about it. And I'm trying to feel badly for her because I'm trying to put myself in a parent who literally puts so much pressure on their child that they're scared to lose. And that's exactly what's happening to her there. So Allie says, I'll help you. So she takes 2 votes, I guess, out of someone else's.
Right.
And, so that Spencer can win. All right. So then we have Allie in school saying that she helps Spencer. Like, she's very particular about what she says in front of the girls. I feel like she's always thinking about how she can kind of like pull the strings. Like, it seems like it's a friendly thing, but also it's so malicious to me.
It's control.
It's such a control thing where she's like, hey, Spencer, you won the election. Oh, I helped her with her speech. Arya, how's your mom doing? Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, what's wrong with her mom? Like, she's just, and I don't know why. Like,
do we learn more of how Allie became Allie? How she became Regina George? How she became Queen Bee?
Yes, but I don't really remember when we get like, maybe more if like Jessica comes into town, like just the things,
like her parents,
or like Jason recounting. I don't really remember exactly when we figure out more about her.
Yeah,
I mean, she's always we're having flashbacks, but I don't remember like specifically.
This would have been prime time, to do all of that, but you can't because the wheels are already turning. Like Michelle said at the top, it's like, oh, A predates the show. Like,
basically, yeah.
we're rewriting like the whole thing, and like every character is so suspicious, and like it also kind of does away with some of the drama, like the buildup of the first episode, because you think this is like, Twin Peaks, the discovery of Laura Palmer is the thing that sets off everything in this town, and with Pretty Little Liars, it's like, oh, we started getting these weird text messages. But now we go back in time. It's like, oh no, the town was always weird. Everyone was always creepy. There was always the haunted house with masks and knives and stalkers. So you're just like, this is all just another day in their life. Like, it's
was this
horrible
the plan all along? Or were the writers, like you guys joked, we need to do a Halloween episode? Scramble. That's what it feels like. Connect.
I think it's probably the latter, right? Like the ABC family at the time was like, we need to do something fun. Would you guys be interested? Because at this point,
13 Days of Halloween.
Me too. I always loved that.
Yeah.
But like I teased to Michelle last week, after this, they don't come back until January for the next part of the show. And it kind of gets like a little bit of a different, the storyline changes a little bit. Obviously, we need to change something up. But I'm not sure if this was exactly what they had in mind the whole time, or they just felt like they need to add it.
Because of the way that the last episode ends with all
of them in jail,
under investigation, and the shovel, and so you think, okay, we're going to learn something next week, and then it's like, nope, we're going back in time, and then see you in 2 months.
Right.
Like, that's really annoying. That's
yeah. I remember being like, just any little bit we could get at the time. All right, let's go over to Emily. So in the beginning of this episode, as we said, we see Emily approach Toby, which I'm like, were they always friends?
Right.
No, they weren't. This is weird to me. Yeah.
Yep.
They weren't always friends. I mean, maybe they were close proximity to being neighbors, but that's about it. So she's like, oh, your dad got remarried? Oh, it's been a year since your mom passed away, and now you're going to get a stepsister. Right? Like the things that she like really wouldn't know about him.
Yeah.
She does. It just didn't make sense. We didn't. We could have just seen Jenna coming into town with Toby, But I guess we need the foreshadowing before we even meet her. Like Toby's setting up. She gets what she wants, and here's the snow globe. And
Our
snow globe connection.
I laughed.
Dude, get out of here.
Snow globe.
Yeah, I guess it's nice to see Toby and like know that he was always there too. But
yeah,
we didn't really need the Emily of it all scene. Like it just didn't need to be there. But we do have this scene in school where Emily is still dating Ben, and then they're at the lunch table. And again, them being 14 is really problematic for me here.
Yeah.
Because Ben is telling everyone that the two of them had sex at 14 years old.
Yep.
You know, to each their own, but that's like a little baby. It's a little baby.
It is a baby.
And she's okay with him saying that because she makes the other girls believe that it's true at that moment.
Right.
And they're all like, oh, Emily, bad girl.
I understand Emily's
Well, it makes sense.
there.
Why? Because she's hiding her identity.
Right.
And so she's like, sure, tell whoever you want, you know?
Right.
Allison says twice, like, I can't figure you out. You're very interesting to me. Like something, I can't pinpoint what it is, but you're like surprising me.
Yeah.
And then she tells Allie later on, I don't need the pill because I didn't actually have sex with Ben. And it's okay that he's saying that because eventually we'll do it. And then everyone will just think that I've been doing it this whole time.
Yeah.
That was another like weird layer that it just, and again, I understand, but like Allie being like, oh, I know a doctor who you can see. It's like, Allie, you have all these connections. You're a 14-year-old kid. Like, okay, anyway. But
like I have
it's
a
just
doctor
making her like
that
all
won't tell your
powerful.
mom.
This character,
yeah,
right. If anyone needs anything, they always can go to Allie because she's always got
on the election committee, and she's got a doctor,
who
will give you
a
the
doctor
pill with
friend,
no parents, right?
Who won't tell their parents about their child going on birth control,
right?
Yeah. All right, then we have Arya who goes to visit her dad at Hollis. This whole entire plot that we already know, and of course, we need to do the invisible string, right, of it all, of her bumping into Ezra. We needed to have Ian for that sliver of a second to show that he was always there, always potentially going to be in her life.
Right. Yeah.
It was nice not to have to deal with Ezra, I have to be honest.
Oh, yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Of course, but we didn't need that.
We didn't need it, but he was a student at Hollis. He seems to be around Meredith's age. Meredith, who's lying on Byron's leather couch without shoes on, which is gross to me.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I wrote.
Good that no shoes.
With 100 exclamation points. No shoes.
No socks.
Like, no shoes.
No socks.
Crazy.
No socks on the leather couch.
Ew.
If I was in like my best friend's house, I don't think I'd have my shoes on. I mean, I don't think I'd have.
No,
my
of course
feet on the
not.
couch. Yeah.
But no socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it frustrated me to see the bare toe feet going on the couch.
No, thank you, Meredith.
Mm-mm.
And Meredith's just like, she doesn't even act like surprised that Arya comes in. She's just like, oh, he's not in. And then Baron comes in and he plays it, oh, I'm the cool teacher. And all the kids come in here. And Arya's like, huh. Like, she thinks it's weird, but she doesn't think too much into it. I guess because at this point in her life, why wouldn't she trust her father?
Sure. You're not going to assume
you wouldn't think anything of it.
Your dad is sleeping with a student.
Right. And then, of course, we see the exact scene we saw in the pilot of them hooking up and Arya and Allison seeing, and the aftermath of that, which is basically what we expected, right? Like Byron says, I would hope you wouldn't tell your mom, but also it's your choice. And
so bad.
Yeah, and I was going to end it anyway. This was the tail end of it. And Arya's like, how do I know that's for sure? Like, if I didn't catch you, how would I know that you would stop things? And she's dropping out of his class. And so she decides, as we know, to keep his secret. Allie does not like that, though. Allie's like, no, you need to tell your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to get divorced? What's happening? So she's meddling in that. And then we have 2008, Ashley, very post Tom leaving her for Isabel.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah.
Tom,
Isabel.
This is going for Isabel?
This is going for Isabel.
This is the same Isabel.
They don't say Isabel, but Hannah says that she's got a fat ass
Yeah,
or
she says
something
comments
nasty.
about her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, how times have changed. My wife was like, wow, do you remember when having a large butt was bad?
Was bad.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not to mention that they made Ashley literally wear a pillow around her stomach the entire episode.
Well,
What
Hannah
the hell?
looks... In some of the flashbacks, she's wearing what looks more like a fat suit. It's more distributed. She straight up looks pregnant in one of the hallway scenes. Like there's nothing but a pillow under her stomach. And I don't remember the style of dress that had like the rope or the ribbon or whatever right under the bust.
Yeah.
It's just ribbon.
It's giving
and then
maternity.
Pillow. It's
Yeah, it's awful.
It looks, and that's why I said, like, on like every technical level, this episode sucks.
Right. It's not even remotely believable.
No.
And because obviously we know that the actress didn't gain, let's just say 30 pounds overnight.
Right.
So it's fake. And it's just so unnecessary to show. Like if someone's in a weight loss journey, they're not going to go from like that to like what, there's like a transition. We could just show her being herself and just... That would have been fine. We would have understood. Love her.
I know earlier I said I only like Spencer, but I do really like Hannah. I just feel like I don't like Hannah's storylines.
Okay.
But like
That's
Hannah
fair.
herself, she's like sometimes the only funny one.
She is. She's very funny. Yeah, she's like some most of the time the comedic relief of the show.
Yeah.
And it still kind of was like that, at least in this episode. Like the dynamic is still the same. She doesn't speak up as much as she does now. She's definitely when Allie's in her presence, she bows down. They all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we were talking, while we were watching, Michelle's like, what is it about her? And we're like, it must just, they just fear her. The people in the town just fear her.
My wife said the same thing. She was like, why are they... What is her? Because she's like, she's not particularly funny. She's not particularly smart. And I was like, it's just power. Like,
it's power. Yeah. She's a beautiful,
powerful
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Ashley ends up drinking a lot of martinis at the grill because she's very upset. And so Darren Wilden, who we know as detective, is a cop in 2008. So how did he get his detective job? Maybe we will find out.
Hey,
and
overnight.
He clearly has a crush on Ashley. And he drives her home because she's too drunk to drive, which good for her. She doesn't drink and drive. And then the next day he comes and he checks on her again. And Ashley's like, I think you got the wrong impression about this. And he just like has a really cryptic message, like, just be careful out there. People on the road are crazy. She's like, what are you implying? And we know, obviously, their history, what happens after that. So Allison and Hannah are hanging out as Hannah babysits. And Allison is telling this story, as we said in the top of the show, where she's scaring this little boy, but he wants to hear it about the twins. And they fight over their doll. And then the one twin stabs the other, kills them. And the stabber goes to an asylum and then gets released and wants to kill these trick-or-treaters.
Yeah.
So after we hear that story, the girls pass by this abandoned house. Whose house it is, we don't know because we never reference it again. I was trying to figure out if it's someone's house that's of importance. Do you remember?
Right. Well, so they say the only thing is it's the house that they go to at the end of the episode.
Right. That's the only reference that we have for it.
It's on Mockingbird Lane, which is the house from the Munsters.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
it. So it's not anyone. I love the reference, right? Like we love to hear the Halloween references. However, in the story of Pretty Little Liars, this house really doesn't mean anything. And I wish it kind of was someone's house that we figure out later on. Like, I don't know. I just wish we would have done something
like
with
halfway through. I was like, do I know this house?
And I'm like,
should I store it? And she's like, no. And I'm like, got it.
It would be like it would have been fun to tie it into another character.
Live there, move into there.
Right. Yeah, Maya moves in, or no, Maya moves into the De Laurentiis house.
Right, but it would have been fun if Maya did, let's just say, down the line, move into that house.
Like, oh, isn't it that house with the twins?
This episode is such an odd combination of like 75% you can never watch this episode, or just throw it all away, and then 25% deep
You need it.
seated stuff that
exactly.
When in several seasons you'll be like, oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a 75-25. You're right.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
a good amount of throwing away and keeping.
Didn't we see a van though that said like
We did.
asylum, and then we saw
Yes.
movement?
We saw a van.
Yes.
Thank you for picking that up.
Okay.
Of
You
Bradley's
do.
Sanitarium, which
Yes,
Seth, isn't
you
that
do.
funny that we see
It's-
this truck?
It's so dumb.
Chef's
Oh,
kiss. Oh, come
it's-
on, Chef's kiss.
No, yeah, it is, and so dumb. Like yeah. Yep.
Well,
yep.
Michelle, Bradley's Sanitarium, we will see in the future.
You will
It
see
is an
again.
asylum
I
in
figured.
town.
Yes.
I figured. Okay.
Put a
Or
pin in that
the
one.
outskirts of town. But it's just that was an Easter egg for people who know that it was there. So
Yes.
it could make it seem like the story that Allison was telling could be true.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But
You
when
know.
we saw movement,
And we
I-
did see some
I
random
thought
person.
that person got out and was now living in that house.
Well, the like the through line spook thing, right? Is
Yeah.
the baby
was so
mask
bad.
person.
Right.
Yes.
And so I think they're just kind of like keep that like thin line of scary tension going. And so I think you're supposed to couple that with that,
Mhm.
but there's not enough there to make that.
Mm.
If you saw a
Right.
baby face in the window, you know, like that would help clear up what's.
Right.
you don't, and-
You don't.
We are
It's just an
ramping up
entity.
the doll stuff in this episode. It's like it's insane, and we just had the doll stuff with the buried lady,
I know,
and
Michelle
everyone could
hated
throw
it.
doll, and
Yeah, I was squealing.
So many dolls.
Squealing during
yeah,
that.
the GPS doll. I'll tell you where to go.
That was a great representation of the doll. So after you hear that story, you see the house. Kate had asked Michelle, what do you make of this story? Do you think it's anything related to the show, or it's just this kind of one-off special that
Yeah.
they're just making it
Yeah.
more interesting?
Yeah, I think that,
In air
anyway,
quotes.
like
Right.
we just talked about, like it just, the house means nothing, clearly, because you guys just told me that. And we do go back to that place.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we see Allie basically in her most true form, I feel. We've seen her pretty bad in flashbacks, but like Seth said, we get her for the entire episode. So every time she is mean, she is so damn mean.
Mhm.
And we see her many times blow off Mona, who is just trying to talk to her, bless her heart.
Wait
and
for
then
me, guys.
Lucas, she is so
Oh,
like the
yeah.
Lucas scene was so hard for me to watch. I almost wanted to turn the television off. Like I just,
Mhm.
it's so uncomfortable and unnecessary, and she just keeps digging and digging and poking at
Mhm.
the bear until he runs away. Like it's just
Mhm.
so. It's very frustrating to
Yep.
watch that.
Yep.
For
It kind of got my wheels turning though.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It
then
did.
Lucas looks at Mona and kind of says to her, like, she's gonna get what's coming to her.
Yeah.
He says that to her.
He says that
Yeah.
to Mona, and Mona doesn't say anything, but she registers it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
So,
know?
Light Predict
Mm.
kind of makes
Yeah.
me think she's been teasing him and it's been fake this whole time. And the two of them are working together as an A team.
Oh, you mean in 2011?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Got it.
Yeah.
I could see why you would say that, because
Well-
even me watching it, I'm like,
Yeah.
she's so mean to him in present day,
And she
But-
calls him the
and
same
she calls him
term
Hermie. Yeah.
Yeah.
that Allie used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if she's friends with Hannah, and Lucas is friends with Hannah,
We're good.
We're
Okay.
good.
Say that again.
that's okay. No, I was just putting the pieces together. Like, if what you're saying is true,
Yeah.
she's friends with Hannah, but Lucas is friends with Hannah.
Yeah.
You don't think that Mona would also want to be like,
No, because Mona, in my world right now,
Yeah.
Mona and Lucas set up this weird, like, you make fun of me.
Mm.
This is how we're going to work this. We're actually frenemies. We
Oh,
worked
okay.
together to get back at Allie on Halloween, and we're dressing as with the masks.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of us who Allie has tortured.
Yes, there.
And it's not just
pretty
1A.
much everyone.
We're in 2008. It's not just 1A. It's a bunch of them. And then the new A, maybe it's different. I don't know.
Well, like a lot of people want to know that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this A, Allie's A, is our A? Or like you said, there's an A team,
yeah, I think
right?
there's just an A team.
So is the A team the same team?
Because I also think Jenna's on an A team.
Mm-hmm.
She's on the future A team. Along with
Jenna
Garrett, who wasn't here.
Right. So she's not on the A team yet if she was
That's what I'm
gonna be on
saying.
the team.
She's on the present A team. And Garrett was not seen. Garrett was not seen.
He was not in this episode. The only one we were really missing to bring it full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't miss him.
No, for sure.
Because he's a turd.
No, we didn't miss him at all.
We hate Garrett.
Right.
But yeah, okay. That's
all
what
right.
I think.
So our girls, as we said, get invited to Noel Khan's Halloween party. It's the party of the century because him and I guess his college age brother are throwing it. I guess the parents are not around. Eric, I think they said his brother's name was. And we have these great costumes, except for like the cultural appropriation of Emily's costume.
Sure.
You know, definitely we would not do that now. We would not do that now. We would not do the fat suit now. We would not do the slut. I mean, but there's a lot of things that we would not do now. And it's actually pretty surprising to me that a woman directed and a woman wrote this episode. It hurts me, actually, in my soul to hear that. Anyway, it's very problematic, but I digress. So Allie goes to the costume shop because she needs to find her perfect costume, which I feel like is so out of character for her. Why would she go to Spirit to get a costume?
I agree.
You and I have been making costumes for years because we want it to be special and something meaningful. Like you think Queen Bee would want to be something, like, make your own Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And a few days before, she's not ready for this.
She's not ready. And like their chances of there being costumes left are really slim.
Well, I mean, that's logistics we can get into.
Of course.
You know.
Yeah.
But then she buys her Lady G costume at, let's just call it Spirit, right? Because that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And then we see Jenna for the first time, pre-glasses or pre-blindness. And she comes in there and Allison's clearly right off the bat threatened. Like, you're buying Lady Gaga, I'm Lady Gaga. We're going to the same party. I better not see you in it. And Jenna's like, oh yeah, I know who you are. Like, I've kept my eye up. I know who you are.
My eye.
Which
is how?
Both my eyes. I guess because if this is October, so school has been in session for a month.
But her snow globe was just on the truck.
I know. You're so right.
Like she just came in.
She's not
she didn't even move in yet.
This is that day. This is snow globe truck day.
You're so right.
Right.
The first thing she does is go get a costume.
Yeah, no.
And Toby wasn't at that party, right?
No, but Toby wouldn't be invited.
That's fine, but wouldn't
Toby at that party?
Or was
Toby? Okay, whatever.
We've got a lot of baby masks.
Wouldn't that be the line though? Of like she heard about the party through Toby?
No, she got invited from Noel.
How did she?
Exactly.
Because he saw a hot girl walking on the street and said,
Yeah.
Hello.
Small town.
Small town.
You're
everything's small.
Well, he's cruising with his boys. They're driving around with the top down,
in his
yelling at anybody.
Yeah, didn't you think it was funny? So much testosterone and no sheep in sight.
Bro, get out. Horrible.
What?
Bad writing.
I was looking at blogs and people are like, so he's a sheep fucker? Like, I don't understand what this reference was. It's not a movie reference, is it? I clearly missed it.
No.
And you know Michelle didn't know it.
No.
Okay,
good.
As
far as I can tell, it's just another like really edgy thing for Allison to say, right? But it's like, God, like you can come up with anything else?
Nothing else.
I mean, she could deliver anything and it would sound snarky.
Yeah. And what I didn't like was his responses. Watch out who you say that to, because another guy might not be so nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
but
Mr.
Everyone's
Gynecologist.
a suspect in this episode.
Yes,
like
you're right.
Because
you're
of
right.
what we're learning, I think it's the previous episode when the cop is like, what are you doing here? Right. And then we get the whole interaction with him and Jenna. And it's like, we did all this stuff. Right. And so then they re-up mixing everything up in your mind of like, well, wait, now maybe I'm suspecting all these other people as well, like him or like Jason when he's like, if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Yep.
Like, nobody
Why
talks
would you say
like
that?
this. Yeah.
It makes him so corny.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're still at the Halloween shop. Jenna leaves. Noel scares Allison, and she gets pissed. And then she turns around, and this baby Burlap scares her as well. I'm just going to call it baby Burlap.
Burlap.
Because I don't know what else to call it. It's baby Burlap. That's my nickname for the costume.
Yeah.
Scares her, and she yells freak. So, all right. So later on, the scene as we were just mentioning, Jason comes into her room to give Allison a package. She's writing in her notebook, slams it shut. She doesn't want him to see. Like he's going to peer over her notebook.
Yeah.
Their relationship is very odd. He asks a 14-year-old for beer money. You're 21. You can't buy yourself beer. Maybe he's not 21.
He doesn't have cash?
Something like that, right?
Well,
he doesn't have
might just
cash.
be collecting this. I can relate to collecting money for the party. Sometimes, you got to find enough,
Plus, like maybe a younger sister would be more responsible with, like maybe Allison seems more responsible to keep her cash, or like always is keeping cash just in case kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he knew she would have some.
Yeah.
But when she pulled out that wallet, I just had like these flashbacks. I was like, Michelle, do you remember these wallets? Like they were everything.
Yeah.
They were humongous.
You just needed a
Love
big
them.
bag.
You needed a big bag. Or you would like walk around with it.
Yeah.
Like like that was your pocketbook. Like that's so dangerous, first of all. That's your wallet.
It's like a clutch.
It was a clutch.
Yeah.
It was huge. And you can even, I think, put like a strap on it. Anyway, so Allie gives him the money. He says, oh, we're making a film, but if I told you what it was about, I'd have to kill you. Oh,
Is that what he
so
said? I
cryptic.
missed that
Yeah.
because I was too distracted.
Yeah, she says, what are you and your stoner buddies doing? And he says, we're making a movie, but if I tell you what it's about, I'd have to kill you. Literally quote.
No, I heard that. I didn't hear he was making a movie.
Making a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
What movie may that be? Don't know. Many movies, it seems.
Right.
Anyway, okay. So she opens the package, and inside is a Burlap voodoo doll, and tagged to it is a note that says, "It's my turn to torture you," which I might add was typed out, was not written. Was that on purpose? Probably, right?
Probably, so you can't understand handwriting. Like
right.
trace
Like,
handwriting.
would we pick up if it was a handwriting we've seen before?
Right.
Or is it our A's handwriting? Is it the note's handwriting? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think they want you to know anything.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very cryptic. So she takes the note. I don't know what she does with the voodoo doll. Did you know what she did with the voodoo doll? It would,
no.
Who knows?
You would think that would be the part she would hide.
Thank you. She hides, however, the note part in the doll's head.
What?
Deep.
She takes out a necklace. It looks like a locket, perhaps. And shoves the note into the doll's head, puts it back into the box that we have now seen Arya have in her possession.
Yeah.
In present day. And she puts it back into the air duct where the radiator is. Okay.
Wait, do we ever see this voodoo doll again?
Maybe.
What? We gotta keep stuff in.
Maybe. I know we
don't
go.
know.
Do we go back to this note? Is Arya gonna be like, oh, what's in the doll's head? Let me turn it.
Yes.
Oh, it's so creepy.
It is very creepy. I don't remember the voodoo doll, but I know for sure they go through the stuff in the box.
Yeah,
in the future.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Okay, so the girls are getting ready for the party. This is when Arya comes in, says she's not really about the party because obviously Allie knows that she had just caught her dad cheating on her mom. And then Spencer sees Burlap Baby outside and gets scared because she's like, what the hell is that? And then Allie realizes, like, that's the same thing that scared me in the Halloween shop.
Yeah.
She also has called Hannah, like you said before, asking if Hannah was at the Halloween shop. Did Hannah text her? Because she got a cryptic message about someone that was watching her.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at the party. As I said, Noel's dressed up as a gynecologist. We have Melissa and Ian there, Bonnie and Clyde, which I thought their costumes were pretty great, to be honest.
Yeah.
Melissa,
they
so
rocked
good.
it.
Looks so good.
Yes.
A lot of college kids are there.
Very close to the actual movie.
She looked really great.
Yeah.
And then we see Officer Wilden, who's not a cop dressed up. He's just a cop hanging out with 14-year-olds.
Drinking.
Like with Jenna.
Drinking with Jenna.
Mm-hmm.
Not shutting down the party. High school kids drinking. You're there. You're definitely way older.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So then we see another Lady Gaga, and Allison knows it's Jenna because nobody knows her yet. Allison knows who it is because she has met her before. She goes up to her and she says, interesting. You didn't change your costume. And Jenna's like, no, I wanted to go with this. I thought it was going to be original, and you can see everyone's kind of like looking at her and admiring her as she's slow dancing to Gaga in the light. And
her dancing is like a cat with a laser pointer.
I loved it.
It was just
it was so fitting of her. Don't you think that was so fitting?
Feeling it. I mean, I was into it.
I was into it.
But...
If I was there, I would definitely be staring at her. And then we see Emily, who's like googly. She's like slow dancing with Ben, who's clearly not Ben, by the way. And she's googly eyes at Jenna. And Jenna like looks back and they smile at each other. And Allie catches it and she's like, not my girl. I don't want you staring at each other. And so then she realizes, Emily must be a lesbian because she's staring at Jenna. She's telling everyone that she slept with Ben when it's clearly not true. So she's putting all the pieces together and she's like, I know your secret, but I won't tell anyone.
Yeah, you're staring at the same person everyone's staring at, but
you're a lesbian.
But you're a lesbian.
Yeah,
I know your secret. And then Allie does go up to Jenna and approaches her, like I said, about the costume, but she does also invite her to be in their clique. So Regina George, like it was like written Mean Girls. Exactly the same scene of, we could be your friends. We would really enjoy you if you hang out with me. You'll be in like the coolest circle, basically. And Jenna's like, no, I'd like to pick my own friends. And I was like, Queen, thank you for saying something and sticking up to Allison because nobody does. And we see Jenna is the first one to do so. We also see Jenna then go over to a woman in the Catwoman suit, and they introduce each other, and we find out that it's Mona, even though you can tell it's Mona, but Allison doesn't recognize her.
No.
Which is weird.
I think
I thought that was weird.
Playing Mona down as like frumpy in the in the flashback stuff because it's like, oh, Mona, not cool. And then here she's like Halle Berry cool. And so
I guess Allison wouldn't recognize her then.
Yeah.
Because she's got more confidence and she's got the mask and her makeup and she's just feeling herself and that she feels herself so much that she goes and she introduces herself to Jenna, and it makes it seem like now where we are, like, these two have a relationship or had a relationship at least.
Right.
Platonically.
Again, the most important date in PLL history, apparently.
So true. The day Jenna and Mona met. The day that we found Ian with the tapes. It's just so much has happened. Allie gives Spencer the 2 ballots that she had taken out, and they have to light it on fire at the party. Why didn't she? She wanted, again, it's the control thing, right? Like, I'm dangling it over your head in case anyone was to find out that I did this.
Until like they're at the party for a good amount of time, and she's like, "Wait, let me whip this out of my jacket." Like you got ready with them,
right? Right. Well, the other girls are not supposed to know.
Like, don't they say like ballot?
Yeah,
or something.
They're big and blue and say ballot.
Like when I vote in my local elections and presidential elections, they don't look this official.
No.
Right? Rosewood High having
Wouldn't it be like an index card or something? Like
exactly. A little piece of paper, a little post-it. Yeah. She tells Spencer very cryptically as well, basically, watch your back, like you don't know who your friends are, and like basically saying like, you can trust me, I'm the person you can trust, but maybe not everyone else. So they kind of all separate, and Allie texts all the girls individually, and I said this is pre-group text, like she couldn't text them all in one group, that she was in trouble. And also I was thinking she texted all of them to see who would tell someone, like would one of them say like, oh, Allie is in trouble, I'm gonna go by myself, or am I gonna tell someone else about it? So I think she did that all specifically, text them all individually. She didn't just like text Spencer, I'm in trouble, get everyone and come help.
You know what, though? You can't the fact that they got the message all at the same time,
No,
but she
that
had
would
to
never
send
work.
them
That would
separately.
never work.
They all got a ding,
Right.
but it wasn't a group. Do you know what I'm
Maybe
saying?
And
they
they all said that was
walked out
weird.
of service range and they all came back into service range at the
It's
same
the
exact
only
second.
way it would have
Yeah.
happened.
The only way it would have
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
follow the address, and of course, it's at the abandoned house that we see in the beginning of the episode. And in there, is baby Burlap following them. And so the girls finally see Allie, and she's frantic, saying that he's trying to hurt her. He's got a knife, and he's chasing her all the way down to this house. And so she says, "You guys stay in here, though, and I'm going to go outside and fight baby Burlap myself. Like, nobody else can come.
I have cell reception in the hallway.
Right?
Lock the door.
And I'm going to go by myself. I'm being chased, but I'm going to go by myself.
Why don't we all go into the hallway?
Right, that's all.
Yeah.
But of course, we needed to have this entire setup of her and the baby. They're fighting, and Emily's peeking through the little tiny keyhole, and she's watching the whole thing happen, and they're freaking out because now the door is barricaded with something, so they can't push out. And finally, they push out the window, they get downstairs, and Allie is just laughing and clapping, saying, "Ah ha ha, I got you guys. You were so easy to fool. You're so scared. Now I know that I can trust you." Like, they didn't know that they signed up for this game of who's going to be, the best friend here, who's going to be worthy of Allison. And so they're pissed. Like, I would be so infuriated. So infuriated. I don't think I would ever talk to her again.
No, it's messed up. They're potentially going to get hurt climbing down.
Right. Someone could have actually really gotten hurt.
Yeah.
Especially since we then find out that this person who she thought was Noel Kahn is not Noel Kahn. So she's like, "Me and Noel, we set this whole thing up." They go back to the party, and he's like, "Don't be mad. I couldn't leave. My brother took the car." Which I'm like, it's a tiny town. You could have walked there, right?
Yeah.
Like, the girls walked there. So I don't know. Anyway, Allie's freaked out because now we know it wasn't Noel that actually was fighting her and was potentially really trying to hurt her and or kill her. So the fact that she made it out alive is pretty good for her at this point. And so she gets shoved by a baby Burlap, and they yell bitch to her. They're like, bitch. And she's like, "Who is that?" And Noel even is like, "Who is that?" Because everyone's in the same costume. We pan out, and we see all these baby Burlaps. So you're like, wait, who the hell is what? And one of them takes their mask off, and it's revealed to be Lucas.
Isn't it the one who shoved her and said bitch was Lucas?
Well, yes. Yes.
Okay. So that one definitely we can confirm.
So that one we can the one who said bitch is definitely Lucas. We don't know for sure who the one that was fighting Allie, the one that was in the Halloween shop. We don't know exactly, but we know for sure that Lucas is at the party and he was in that costume.
Right.
And then Allie gets a text stating, "Dying to know who I am, you'll find out. A." Which that was the first time that we've seen an A. The other ones were not signed A. This text is now signed by A. Arya says, "Who is that?" And Allie says, "It's a secret." It's a secret.
So dumb. It's so dumb.
And there we go. The first secret, right?
Right.
Even though it's probably her millionth secret at this point.
Right.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
And we don't even know that it's not Noel because we don't know who it was. And so he could be lying. "Oh, I wasn't there."
Right. He could have been lying because he was also in the costume.
7 people wearing the same costume. And so, like Michelle was saying, okay, let's say there's, like a team of A's, and who could possibly be in. Then you have all these people at the party in an orchestrated, extremely specific costume, one of whom attacked her.
Yeah.
What does that communicate to us? It's so dumb because everyone there wearing that costume has to be in on it. Question mark?
Right.
Yes.
Like, we assume
the chances of that, and then if it wasn't Noel, how did they know to go there in the same costume that Allie would have expected him to be in? And if Allie was almost murdered in front of their eyes, why have they never referenced this night when talking for 2 years about the events of Allie's disappearance? Not once. anybody was like,
You're
hey,
so
remember
right.
Halloween when someone almost stabbed her to death?
Right, and we found out it wasn't Noel. Like, we thought
Get
she
out of
thought
here.
it was Noel. Wait,
I'm-
that's so weird. It wasn't Noel.
Oh my God.
Someone did try and kill her.
There's steam coming out of my ears.
Oh,
right
I
now.
know. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You want to add fuel to the fire? Mike wants to know, what is more unappealing, the creepy baby mask or a human form of Shrek?
Shrek, human form of Shrek. I'll take the baby. I like the baby.
That is
I like the
so
baby doll
mean.
stuff. Yeah, I'm a fan of the doll stuff. You know, it's like tapping into this thing that is like in our society and culture, like inherently feminine, youthful, and creepy. Like a what do you call those dolls? Porcelain doll. Like a porcelain doll is such a good like icon for this show and like what it's doing. So I'm a big fan of it. But Baby Burlap, it never comes. We don't see that again, right? Refresh my memory.
We might see it one time,
but
or
like
maybe
now
I'm
that it's
confusing
been
it.
written, now they should use it.
Right.
They
Exactly.
should use it. Right.
That should be like the A team logo.
Well, not even that, but like now that we wrote this, because we didn't
Yeah.
know about this in the beginning, like you said, Seth, we would have referenced this night about Allie being almost stabbed by not Noel Khan, supposedly.
Yes.
So now are we going to reference this? Because now we have it. We've created it in our world. Will the girls come back to this night?
TBD.
This is
Do you remember, Seth?
No,
I don't remember.
No. Like I said, it's such an odd mixture this episode, man.
Yeah.
What I would say, Michelle, is if you remember this, in like 3 years, go back and watch this episode, and so much more will make sense.
Yeah.
And then you'll also be like, oh, but so many
doesn't
questions make sense. Because why don't have 7 or 8 burlap babies. Just don't have that.
But they can, so they did.
Yeah.
I know. Let's
it
cool
almost
off.
makes it feel like it's going to be Riverdale. Like we're going to put out a lot of things, but we can't really follow through.
Interesting.
And we'll probably
I have compared these shows a lot of times. I feel like
this is so good in theory. We got it, but then in a couple of years, like, shit, how can we tie? We actually can't. This is a mess.
Rewatching,
they ruin it. The showrunners ruin it.
Yeah. Rewatching the few episodes surrounding this one, just to like regather my bearings. Jean-Marie and I were like, oh, right. I forgot about this entire plot line. Oh, I forgot about this betrayal or this person, or it's like, oh my God. But this episode, they want to remind you, it's like when you defrag your computer or something. Like even Hannah's mom, she's like, oh, I'm looking for a job. I can be this, I can be this. And then she's like, interesting. And it's a bank
and
manager.
We have to see her circle that a specific thing.
And, they're just like, remember that? It's like, yes,
we remember all of it. We just watched it.
We just saw it.
Right. It's only season 2, guys.
Right. Like
episode 13.
It wasn't like 10 seasons. We just watched it.
Right.
The whole thing is a previously on Pretty Little Liars, but it lasts an hour, and it throws a bunch of stuff that's like, you're like, oh, that wasn't previously on Pretty Little Liars. Yeah. You're making that up.
Right.
Yes. And welcome, Michelle, to Pretty Little Liars, because this is just a little taste of what the next 6 seasons are going to be. And for the fans and the people who have watched before, there is one specific time I felt like we got some answers. And you guys might all know what I'm talking about. But that's about it. So just preparing Michelle for just a lot of frustration to come.
Cool.
Yep.
That's just
It's
great.
A great show that just goes crazy.
Provides nothing.
But it's still fun. It's still fun.
It's
like
so
I said,
fun.
this is the worst episode, but the worst episode of PLL is still really funny and makes you feel a lot of things. And you're like slapping your head over and over it. And
the worst episode we talked about so much already.
Yeah.
Know, like
there's
so much content to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's just cool off for a sec. We're going to take a short break.
I'm going to try.
So that we can gather our bearings here. So let's just go into it so we can wrap up this episode. But first, before I read the ice cream, I think we have a review that Michelle would like to read.
We did get a new review that I cannot wait to share with you guys. And I'm happy that Seth is here to
Me too.
discuss it with us.
Hooray.
Okay. So this review is from Love Eat First Glow. 3 stars. Title is Prospective. I love Ezra and Arya. Love Ezra and Arya. I loved them when the show aired. Pennsylvania Law 16 is legal as long as he's not her teacher.
Oh.
I don't have a problem with them because I'm very good at separating fantasy from real life. My brother got his master's at 23 and immediately started teaching college when I was a freshman at the same college. Thank you.
Okay.
For sending this perspective and that you're a fan of Ezra and Arya and explaining your point. Also, thank you for the download.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Yeah. I know, okay, so Pennsylvania Law 16 is legal as long as he's not her teacher, but he
was her teacher. Also, they haven't slept together. I just have to keep saying that. I mean, they haven't slept together yet, and while it may be legal, he still continued to be her teacher.
Yeah.
But she did try and drop out of his class.
Yeah.
It didn't get approved, however.
Yeah.
So, but he's still an older figure, as you will,
Correct.
at her
Power.
school. A figure
He's in a
of
position
power.
of power.
Position
Yeah.
of
That's
power.
right.
Exactly.
That's
At
right.
her school. So even if he wasn't her specific teacher, he's still other kids' teachers.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's just a line of being inappropriate.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know, again, it didn't happen while he was her teacher. They didn't know that they would fall for each other.
Right.
But it
But
did
they let it
happen
continue.
But it
because
did
it
happen.
continued.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And we say it all the time. Like, we are always like, we have to remind ourselves, we
It's
got to be in the
fantasy.
fantasy. We got to be in the fantasy. We can't look at it from the realistic eye.
But we're also reviewing this show.
Yeah.
But to be in the fantasy is not to accept everything that's put forth.
So true.
Right.
So
like
true.
you can believe that this is happening without approving of it happening.
Right. Like,
And there's
we're
a big
believing it
distinction
is.
there. Yeah.
Oh, I
But-
believe it.
Okay,
You
so
don't
if
like that
Ezra
it is.
is a 23-year-old teacher who is making out with 10 different girls who are 16 and a half years old, but they're not his students, it's okay?
Right.
Get out of here.
No.
Mhm.
That's
not
crazy
good.
talk.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I personally just never like the teacher-student trope.
Never.
No, it's bad.
In any of the shows we covered, I didn't even
Never.
like it when one of our people from another show was in college and did it.
Yeah.
Because it was like
Right.
of power, a person in
Yeah.
power and taking advantage. And
Mhm.
I don't like it. I don't like this
Yeah,
trope.
it's inappropriate, and they know it's inappropriate, and it's still like, if Ezra and Arya, it was just the one-off thing, they realized that they were teacher and student and they cut it off, but he needed to be in her life for some other reason, right?
Right.
That adds a dimension to their relationship that's like crazy. But that's not the story. They continue. She goes to his apartment regularly.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe
Ezra
if,
Fitz belongs in jail. And that is my perspective.
A lot
Sure.
of men on this show belong in jail.
yeah, they all like the young girls.
Well, Rosewood
like,
belongs
I
in jail.
blame. Sarah Shepard wrote the books, right? I don't
Yeah.
blame her necessarily for, having the content of these underage girls,
Yeah.
but we didn't have to do every single underage girl get their prospective predator. Like, we didn't need to have every
Yeah.
single person have someone who is much older than them be attracted to
It's
them.
just like Hannah. Hannah's the only one, right?
She's the
At this
only
point,
one.
who's dating someone appropriate. I mean, I know Spencer and Toby, but now Spencer and Ren.
right.
Well,
Like,
right, Spencer and Ren, yeah. But she can write whatever she wants. Like I said, we don't have to agree.
right, absolutely.
Like,
You can.
It's
make
story. It's a story.
It's a story. It's a story, and
Yeah.
stories don't hurt people. But
Absolutely.
Right.
And Michelle and I feel like I'll speak for ourselves. We are the most realistic in terms of knowing when something is real and when something is fake.
Yeah.
And we know what we're watching is fake.
Yes,
it's a television show. So we're only here to critique the plot of what we're given. And again, like Seth said, we don't have to agree with it, but we have to still talk about it.
Yeah.
Because you know it's happening.
Maybe it's just like I just don't like Ezra, so
I also just don't like Ezra, and like that's a me problem. I'm not telling it's a me problem, and you guys could feel however you feel about Ezra.
I just don't like
you know, back in the day, there's still people to this day that love Ezra and Arya, and like, good for you guys. I really, truly am happy that you have a couple. They're just not my couple, and there's nothing about it that's interesting.
I wonder if they're endgame.
I wonder.
Well, you guys know.
Well, what do you think? Like, at this moment in time, do you think that they're endgame?
No. I think this show's going to get wacky and we're going to have like a time something's coming. We're having a time warp. I think something weird is coming. I think it's going to throw everything to the wind because the writers are going to be like, we don't know what to do anymore and we're starting over. And I think that's when you guys all lost your minds. I just remember there's a point in time where Liz and Ingrid and your cousin, Brittany, like all flipped a table, so to speak. And I'm like, what could have caused that? I truly don't know what happens, but I think something wacky happens.
Wackadoodle, yeah.
I said last episode that I was on last year, I have not finished the series.
But you know what happens.
I got pretty far into it. I looked it up, and I've looked it up several times, and I looked it up in preparation for this and just to remind myself. And I'm like reading from my phone to Jean Marie all of the different connections and this and that and this person, and because we start to get into like generational stuff, like we're expanding beyond the four girls. And I literally read her something and I was like, okay, right, so that's this person, and then went to another character's page. I was like, wait, everything that I just read you, I told you the wrong thing. Like, it's so hard to keep track of, even if it's laid out before you, that you just throw your hands up.
So that's what I think. So I don't think they're endgame.
Buckle in, man.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Me.
Anyway, thank you for the review, for taking the time to write this review, for listening, for downloading. We really, really appreciate it. I'm happy for you that you love Ezra and Arya. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so it's time for a Lucky Leon's Ladle. Thank you, Michael, for sending over the ice cream that we're pairing with this week's episode. It is Ben & Jerry's coffee ice cream with fudge-covered toffee pieces. Like, this is right up my alley.
Ooh, yum.
The coffee ice cream has, I think he just likes when I say coffee. Mike just likes to hear me say coffee. Yeah.
Coffee.
The coffee ice cream here represents the caffeine that runs through Spencer's veins. The fudge-covered toffee pieces represent Allie. While toffee is sweet, especially covered in fudge, the caramelizing of the sugar makes it a hard exterior, just like Allie, especially in this episode. With it being a prequel, we see a lot of Allie and the type of person she is. At first, we see her being a real friend and sweet with the liars, helping Spencer win class president, offering to get Emily on the pill, and then keeping the secret that her and Ben didn't actually have sex, and then being there for Arya after seeing Baron and Meredith. But then we see her being an outright bitch to them and using their secrets against them. Just like Toffee, Allie is sweet, but if you're not careful, you can chip a tooth or it could stab you in the back. Michael, I have to disagree. I don't think she was trying to be a good friend at all in this episode.
I don't either.
I think everything she did was for her own motive.
She's manipulative and she likes power. I don't think I agree with you, Liz. Like, there's no goodness.
Yeah, she just took what she got from that.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do MVP and Shittiest, I just want to shout out, we have a new pledge, Carrie.
Yay, Carrie! Welcome!
Welcome to the fam, Carrie.
Woo!
Let us know what brought you here, what show you love, and we look forward to getting to know you. All right, Seth, I'm going to put you on the spot first. Who was your MVP of the episode?
I think my MVP is Jenna. Even though I was forced to look at her without sunglasses for part of the episode.
She looked amazing, those Lady Gaga sunglasses.
Gorgeous.
Her outfit is 100 times better than Allison's.
What was outfit, with the wig, first of all?
I thought she was doing like Gem and the holograms costume. I didn't even know that she was Lady Gaga for a bit.
Same.
It's bad. It's a bad wig.
It's a terrible wig.
I also, for a second, I was like, is she doing inverted Elvira? Like, it looked like an Elvira wig. But yeah. So I think Jenna, she's not really heavily at play in this episode, but she gets a few jabs into Allie.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love that she didn't give in to Allie. She's like, I'm not a conformist. You're not going to control me. I can think for myself and pick my own friends.
Yeah, I mean, Jenna was my MVP as well because I liked seeing this side of her. She wasn't mean or bitchy.
No, she had to defend herself.
No. Oh, no.
Barely. She like such confidence. And so like with like a positive line, I loved it. I was really excited to see Jenna in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost makes you think, like, did Allie make her rough? You know, did it make her have a hard exterior like Allison has the hard exterior? Because the Jenna thing, and also, well, yes, and because they had to be basically pinned against each other because Allie doesn't like competition.
Right.
So
can I ask you a question?
Please.
Wouldn't this episode have been better if we focused on establishing Jenna versus Allison?
Yes.
And we just did more Jenna with Toby, like just make it that.
The Jenna thing. We should have just called it like the Jenna thing and done all the Halloween stuff with Jenna. The first Jenna thing, and Jenna versus Allie, the first issue being the Lady G costume.
I would have called
it
from Jenna Rations, and the A is capitalized.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So good.
It just seems like this Jenna we met today is not the same Jenna.
Right. No. Well, lots have happened to her.
Not evil, but has turned dark.
She's turned dark and blind.
She went blind. So I'm assuming that would do something to
that
a
would
person.
do it. That would do it.
That
also, though,
it might have an effect.
We do have to mention the creepy stuff with Toby, though.
Yes.
Like, we still haven't forgotten that that's a thing for you people at home. We know still that's a thing.
Yep. And that's give me more of that. Give me her and Toby
like
interacting.
when did that happen?
Because like I said, he's like, she gets what she wants.
Right.
Why is he saying that?
Did it happen already?
Right.
Right.
Because I know that she's out shopping for costumes while he's unloading her snow globes.
Right.
Yeah.
She's her little bitch. Speaking of bitches, I'm just gonna throw it. My shittiest is Allie.
Yeah, me too.
I couldn't give it to anyone else.
She's shittiest, but also MVP at the same time.
Yeah.
Because this episode really was about her. I mean, I know we got like stories of everybody else, but the most of her. But for sure, she was my shittiest.
Yeah.
Seth?
I just have to restart really quick again. Okay, good.
Poor Seth.
Who's the cop? The cop?
Wilden. Darren.
Wilden, okay.
Screw him.
I have like a twist, if I can do an ice cream twist, of Wilden and Noel.
Okay.
Like, I hate Noel throughout this entire episode. Every time he's on screen, I'm just like, dude, this guy, come on. And then, Wilden sucks, man. Like you said, he's at a party drinking. He's drinking on the job. He's in uniform.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. People thought he was dressed up as that. That's actually his uniform.
Yes.
I think we should have had Garrett in this episode drinking with Wilden. And I think that would have, since they both work on the force together.
Yeah.
Well, Garrett was not on the force then.
No,
he was
only
in college.
But it would have been like
them talking.
A connection. We could have seen like a connection. They end up working together, and it seems like they're always
I don't know if I could have taken one more connection, to be honest.
Well,
and when all this stuff happens with Wilden and Hannah's mom later, at no point is Hannah like, isn't that the cop that brought you home that one night when you were drunk and then showed up the next day? It's all just lost to time, lost to the ether. Anyway. So Noel is number one, and then Wilden mixed in there.
Love it. So this is the time where we do a cringe meter. I don't even know exactly how to rate this episode. Michelle, like a couple weeks back, I said we usually do it off of like dialogue and how cringy the dialogue is. It definitely was high on the cringe scale there, but then like the acting and the over dramatics were definitely high there. So I mean, what can we give it out of 10? I feel like it's pretty high.
Yeah, I'm like leaning towards an 8.
I was gonna say an 8.
Like it's high.
I might even get 8.5.
Yeah, it's high. It's high.
What do you think,
me.
Seth?
I'm giving this 10.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like,
okay.
10, this is
we can't come back from that.
This is the worst episode. And when you guys, so you guys asked a long time ago. We set up to do an episode for season 2, right? Doesn't it feel like it was like a year ago?
It was so funny. It probably was, but I was like, Michelle, I don't know if Seth actually knew he picked this specific episode for this reason, or he just
I knew.
Picked... Oh, okay.
I knew when I went through, because you guys were like, yeah, want to come on for season 2? And I was like, yeah, which episode? And you were like, please pick for us.
Yeah, we were like, we don't care, just pick one, Seth.
And so I was like, if I can pick anything, this is going to be the one. Definitely.
Thank you.
Nice.
I'm so happy to have you for this one.
Nice.
I do like the show. If you're listening and you haven't heard me talk about it before, I do really like it.
Yeah.
And I even like this episode, but this is the bottom. 10 out of 10 cringe, horrible writing, horrible everything.
Yes. Horrible everything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I will give Michelle the title for next week's episode. Like I said, it is a bit of a break for them. So when we come back, things will be a little bit different. It will be episode 14 of season 2. And the title is Through Many Dangers, Toils, and Snares. Ugh, that was a terrible title.
Song lyrics from the song Amazing Grace.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wonder how that's going to tie in with next week's plot. And my secret, Michelle, is that Mike punches Ezra in the face. So
awesome. I look forward to that.
Why do you think he punches him in the face? Just curious.
Probably catches him with Arya and flips out on him, obviously, for catching him. So I look forward to a punch in the face, but I'm more like kind of, we're going to go. You told me last week it's a month.
Yeah. It will be a month since we've seen them last.
Okay. And last the girls were being questioned and Hastings was like, you need to get them a criminal attorney, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the girls will get representation. Obviously, this isn't going away. Darren is still here because he's like, yes, I'm on the case. And Natasha and Boris, that's who I call Garrett and Jenna. Yeah.
Right.
I can't help it. I hope we get a little bit more of their scheme and when Garrett leaves the force. Question for you. Does Garrett leave this season? Like, is he going to be on the island after the season or you can't tell me that?
Wow, you ask real pointed questions.
How am I supposed to figure this out?
I will tell you that I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know if it's this season.
Okay.
I can't confirm nor deny because I don't want to give you misinformation.
No, I respect that.
So I plead the fifth.
I know that we're going super long, but can I ask a quick question?
Seth, you can always ask a question.
Because I do listen to your show. As you know, I've texted you randomly throughout the day as I'm listening.
Love it.
I did not catch up with last episode. And you can cut all this. Feel free. I'm just super curious. What you guys think is in the envelope that
Dr. Sullivan's envelope?
Dr. Sullivan was handed?
Do you remember? Because
no, I'm just asking what you guys think. Or like, I guess primarily what Michelle thinks.
What do you think's in the envelope? Photos do not bend.
Photos
do not bend. What photo?
Is that what it says
what?
on the envelope?
Yeah, that's what she said. That's what she lists. Like,
okay.
new.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to see, but that's what listeners had wrote in, and that's what people on Reddit had said. It said.
Okay.
Said.
I was actually hoping that Sullivan was on the island because I think this would have been a good send off for her, and this would have like upped the story of like what happened to her, and also like used her for what they needed.
Yeah. So if it's photos, what do you think it is, though?
I think there's blackmail photos.
But like
of what?
I don't know, guys. But I just know that it's blackmail photos.
Okay.
They have something on her. Listen, not everybody is innocent. And so
No, they are not.
No one is in Rosewood. Every rose has its thorn, and every resident has its secret.
Thank you.
It's like
Yes.
Desperate Housewives.
It's exactly
Doesn't
like
that
Desperate
sound like
Housewives.
Seth is narrating Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm still truly, truly, truly on the thought that Peter fathered a De Laurentiis.
I love how she says it. Peter fathered. Peter fathered a De Laurentiis.
Yeah. So I'm going to.
The Peter, the father, and the De Laurentiis.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I look forward to that punch in the face.
Yeah. So if Mike knows, does anyone else know?
Well, I mean, the girls know.
Okay.
And Jackie knows.
She does. She does.
So not yet.
Okay. I look
Because
forward
Ella
to next
still
week.
thinks Spencer is with Ezra.
Mhm.
LOL.
But maybe when we come back, Ezra has corrected her.
Maybe. This is like trying to feed me lines, and I'm just like, I'm not accepting it. Like,
Yeah.
Peter, not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not
No,
tonight.
that's enough for tonight.
Not tonight.
Well, that could be enough for tonight.
Yeah.
But we love Seth. I truly am so happy that this was you on this episode. I'm happy that
Thank
you picked it, and then we got to talk about it, because while Michelle and I think we would have discussed this, we would not have done it justice as Seth has. So
Not at all.
You wouldn't have screamed at the top of your
no,
lungs.
but seriously, Seth, you're the fact that you have the movie background really helps, because there was a lot of movie references in this episode that I don't think Michelle and I would have picked up on necessarily unless I did look it up.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that's not the only reason why we loved you to be here, because your commentary is so great, but we truly respect and love your opinions, and the fans love you, so we're going to keep you back. That's okay with
thank
you.
Thank
Keep you
you,
back.
thank you.
Continue to have you back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you guys aren't fans, you should definitely listen to Movie Friends.
Seth, plug away.
What is Movie Friends?
What should people? Where should they find you? What should they listen to? What should they read by you?
Absolutely. Well, if you like me and you like Michelle and occasionally Liz,
Occasionally.
you should check out a show called Movie Friends. It is a podcast about movies and friends, and we talk about some great movies, we talk about some bad movies, but it's all done in a spirit of love, understanding, education, and understanding people through the things that they enjoy. So if you think, oh, I don't really watch that many movies, I don't want to listen to a movie specific podcast, then this is the one for you.
It's a cool place.
Yeah,
no
it's
pressure
fun.
place.
It's fun. We just did House Party from 1990. It was
So great.
incredible. It was so much fun.
So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also did Moonlight from 2016. We do it all.
Michelle doesn't seem too thrilled with that one.
I loved it.
Oh, okay.
I rated
Her
that
face.
5 stars.
Whoa,
Yes,
spoiler
Michelle.
alert.
Yeah.
That was a
5
5-star
stars,
film.
man.
That was
I
perfection.
shocked. She rated it higher than I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfection.
Yeah.
Well, go listen now.
Mm-hmm.
The links will be, as always, in the description, the bio. If you watch on YouTube, it's there. If you listen, it's there too. So go ahead, click away. We'll be back next week for episode 14. We're really making some leadway with this show. My goodness. Next week is fun, so you won't want to miss it. I think it's better than this week's episode. It's different. It's just different.
I feel like we probably go back to what we'll
go
doing.
back on track.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And
This
as
was fun.
always,
Yeah.
if you want to get back on track, be sure to leave a review so that the latest review is not prospective. Let's get these reviews back on track, everybody. Come on.
Or if you have a perspective to share,
please share it in the reviews.
Yeah, rate us 5 stars if you're enjoying.
All in good fun.
All in good fun. Leave your perspective, your prospective.
Either one.
Any kind of spective.
Any specs are good.
Amateur perspective. Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
All
Spencer
of it.
perspective.
Yes, we love it.
Be creative with it. Thank you.
And thank you, Seth.
Thanks, Seth.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
And that's it. That's not how I'm going to end it, but, I'll figure it out. Are you pretending to be frozen again? Are you actually frozen?